Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are right back at the alley. We're going to take a look and see just how big this damn garden is going to be and whether or not it's going to even fit on this alley. If you missed episode 1 in this series, I'm designing a show garden at the RHS Tatton Park Flower Show. And it's going to be an alleyway garden. So make sure that you're subscribed because I'm going to be taking you with me every step of the way. Okay you guys, so I am back at the relocation site, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out where 40 meters is on this alleyway so that I can kind of work out the design for the show garden, but also how to make sure that the relocation goes smoothly, because I don't want to bring a whole load of plants in here and then try and somehow figure out how it's all going to go. What I want is for the show garden to be a near accurate representation of how it would look here at the relocation site, so that when visitors see the garden at the show, that they kind of feel like they are immersed in it and that they are in Moss Side. Well, that's the aim anyway. I had some time to sleep on things. Yesterday was a bit ropey. But I'm back today in better spirits, so let's get going. In last week's episode, I mentioned that the garden is going to be relocated here in Moss Side right after the show. So now I need to figure out whether or not the garden can fit in here and how I'm going to make this whole thing work. Okay, so this is where we've ended up. Just outside this blue door. 40 meters is right at the beginning of the alley, all the way until this point here. That's a lot. It's a big space. I swear this must be like the biggest show garden in history. Anyway, no, it's fine no, it's cool, but the thing that I have to remember is there's already a ton of stuff out here. So let's just have a look, for example. So there are already a whole load of troughs and planters that are in the alleyway, some of which can't be moved, for example. But you wouldn't want to, I mean, just look at this beauty. And so I'm going to have a whole ton of new containers that are gonna have to come with me. What I can't do is bring with me a whole load of my fancy planters that I would normally use for show gardens, because it's just not going to be in fitting with what's already here. But I also have to remember in the design there are lots of different elements already here, and the aim of the game is to be able to merge everything together to make a complete garden. So there's going to be some things here that need a shift around in order to accommodate what I've designed. But yeah, it is doable. Why have I done this? The community have been gardening here in this alleyway for around about 5 years or so, and I'm always struck by all of the ingenuity that these communities have come up with in terms of how they've created their space. I've made sure in the designs to implement some of this just to show people what is possible in a small space. But I soon realised my mistake. A project like this will not go anywhere without the community input, and I've had to learn this the hard way. In fact, I started off by designing a space that would be great for an RHS flower show, but not necessarily great for the community. So let me introduce you to some members of the community and hear what they want from their garden.
Hi, I'm Yasmin. I live here on Newland Street in Moss Side, and I've lived here for about 7 years now. When I first moved to the street 7 years ago, it was covered in fly-tipped rubbish, broken glass, mattresses, and as a community we decided it just wasn't acceptable and we needed a place to be outside, spend time. We only have tiny paved yards, really tiny paved yards, and so we just wanted a place where we could either be together as a community or have friends around, family around, and just hang out outside. So that really inspired us to clean up all the space we have here and make it a nice place to be. The biggest achievement we've had in this garden, I think there's a lot. We've literally gone from where you couldn't step outside your gate to having built-in benches and greenery and getting a community together. One of the biggest achievements in having this garden is just getting to know our neighbours and getting to know the people around us. So quite a few of us now are quite close from starting to garden, so we watch each other's cats and we all hang out, and we've had like bonfires and cocktail classes out here as well, and it's just been a really nice way to know your community in a natural, safe environment. I think one of the biggest failures is definitely consistency. It's really hard as lots of people move in and out, lots of people have different commitments, so caring commitments or work or everything else that goes on in life, traveling, whatever. It's really hard to keep the consistency, so we've definitely had ebbs and flows of times where it looks really lush and green and amazing, and we've had other times where it's a little bit subpar, a little bit weedy. The bees love it, but it doesn't look the prettiest. So one of the ways I engage with people the most is maybe a little bit weird, but if I'm back here gardening and someone's taking their rubbish to the bins, because we have these big communal bins that everyone has to go to, I just stop them while they're going to the bins and let them know, hey, you can help do this at any time, or if you're interested in gardening, or alternatively, we've done door knockings and I've done leaflets as well through neighbors' doors, just letting them know days and times we're out here and letting them know that the project is for everyone. It's not just for the few people who they maybe see do it consistently. That's not always easy, but it's definitely something worth trying.
And if you were to give advice to somebody who is wanting to start their own alleyway after being inspired by everything that you guys are doing here, what would you say to them?
I would absolutely tell them consistency is key. So it doesn't matter how long it takes, it doesn't matter if it looks perfect in a week or a month or a year, but it's just being consistent. So communicating with your neighbors, taking 10 minutes a day sometimes is the easiest way than trying to do a whole alleyway in a weekend, which we've been there, we've done it, we know how hard it is to hammer out, and it can sometimes be demotivating to do that. So chat to your neighbors, agree to do a few minutes every day, every evening, especially in the beautiful summertime, and then just keep going.
And what is it that you want from this project? What is it that you want incorporated in the design for your space?
So in my space and kind of in the alleyway, some things I'd really like to see. So low maintenance perennials to fill up a lot of gaps and just make sure it's easy for everyone, especially in winter when we don't want to be gardening for the most part. The other thing I love to see is like fruit and veg growing, things that we eat, making sure that like children know where their food is coming from, and also it's just really nice, I think, for people to have access to fresh food close to home, in your home really. And then other things I'd like to see, I just love using different heights and different textures and colors around with different plants around. So yeah, just having that variety and not just all the smallest plants we can find or the success we have from seed growing.
Awesome. And word on the street is you have an allotment. So how are you going to manage having an allotment and an even bigger alleyway to take care of?
Yeah, so I've had an allotment for 2 years now. Listen, it's part of the ups and flows. Sometimes having an allotment, that requires more time in some ways, and sometimes the alleyway could take more of my time. I think what's important is knowing that there's a community around me here that can help. So if I need to spend an evening watering the allotment, I know some of my neighbors can help out with the watering here, and vice versa. And of course, always sharing what I grow at my allotment to get people outside here and helping out in the alleyway, and they can have all the spare courgettes and lettuce that they could ever dream of.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
As you can see, I have my hands full here, trying to make this project something that the community can really use. Now we're off to meet a very special resident and his owner.
Hi, my name's Gemma. So I've lived in this area for quite a long time actually, but it was only in the last few years that we started gardening here. I used to come out, put the bin out and see all the weeds, all the broken glass, all the dog mess, and it was just really quite depressing to come out and see. But I remember coming out my back gate one day and just seeing a very small area that one of the neighbours had cleared, and it was like a light bulb moment. It was, yeah, why are we getting stressed and down about all this horrible mess when we could actually do something? So I came out one night, cleared a little bit of the area outside my back gate, felt really pleased with myself, and it kind of grew from there. So
And what's been your favourite part of Alleyway gardening?
Meeting people and feeling part of the community. As I say, I lived here a long time before doing this and always felt, quite solitary, my own little bubble. But since doing the gardening, meeting the neighbours, being able to come out, have a chat, and create something together, it's been really fun.
And what would you say has been one of your biggest challenges with the garden?
It is tough. There are a lot of challenges. It's great having all these ideas and things you want to do, but it does take a lot of effort with the upkeep, keeping things watered, keeping things neat, keeping things tidy, keeping on top of the rubbish and the litter. There are challenges, but on the whole it's definitely a fun thing to be involved in.
Amazing. And you guys have tasked me with creating a garden for you guys. So what is it that you want from me on this show garden that's going to be relocated back here?
Wow. I suppose it'd just be to really maximise and really make something of the space. I think we've kind of made a good start with what we've got, but it's all been kind of a little bit cobbled together as we've found things, built things, adapted things. So it'd be really nice to have a bit of a sort of an overall vision. Loads of flowers. I love coming out and seeing what's in bloom, seeing what's growing, seeing things change over the seasons. It's a great opportunity to get some vegetables and things grown. I have a little tortoise, a beautiful little tortoise that I've recently adopted. So I'd be really keen to use it as an opportunity to grow things that are tortoise friendly, that I can feed that little guy. I got into the habit of coming out, finding a piece of dandelion or something to feed him, but then coming out and seeing that the council had sprayed weed killer. It's a bit of a worry because I don't want my tortoise eating that. It would obviously be quite harmful for him. So having our own garden, having a sort of degree of control as to what goes on, and just making sure that he's having good, healthy food that's not going to do him any damage.
Amazing. And if you were to give somebody else some advice, somebody who wants to create a space like this, what would your best piece of advice be for them?
Yeah, definitely do it. Definitely do it. You've got nothing to lose by having a go. And try and get people involved. Try and get other people to be enthusiastic, to help out. It's so much more fun if there are other people on board. Shares the workload as well. It's definitely a good thing to get involved in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In the comments below, please say a massive well done to Gemma because she was so camera shy, but I think she did a fantastic job. Now we're going to head over to Gorse Hill in Manchester and find out what another community is doing with their set of alleyways. For the past few months, I've been out visiting some alleyway gardens all across the northwest. I came across this one in Gorse Hill in Manchester, and it is absolutely spectacular. There's a vast network of alleyways, and what I love the most is just how creative they are. In this particular area, there are a whole network of different alleyways, and they all have completely varied different levels of success. This particular alley has received funding from our local council. They received around about £6,000 to help them transform these alleyways into a really special urban oasis. This alley is next to a local school. I love how they've used the school as an inspiration for some of their containers. over my travels, what I've realised is that alleyway gardening is about upcycling. These gardens are all community gardens, and people don't have the money to spend on expensive containers, so people use what they can to make their garden, the same way that I do on my very own balcony. I took a walk and I walked through all of the alleys, and each one had a different personality, a different character, but they were all connected with the way that they've chosen to go about creating their containers. Bathtubs, toilets, sinks, anything can be used to make a container. And in actual fact, because so many of the properties in these areas are being renovated, lots of these items are just left out in the streets. And so what they do is collect up all of these items and then upcycle them and turn them into something spectacular. This type of gardening is not for everybody, I understand. However, this to me is the magic of alleyway gardening. It is using what you can to make something special. A massive thank you to the lovely alleyways of Gorse Hill. If you would like to see more of their alleys, I'm going to leave a link below in the description box. It has been absolutely fascinating getting to know and understand the wants and needs of the community. And so what I'm having to do with the design of the garden is incorporate all of the elements that the community wants for the space, because if I am committing to mentoring the community for the next 12 months, the key to the success of the garden is making sure that the community is engaged in this project. It's a lot. There's a lot to do. Hopefully you'll join me next week, where we are going to dive into the design itself, and we'll be heading over to a garden that's been created for refugees who are currently being housed in a hotel outside of Manchester Airport. Hopefully I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye! Thank you all so much for joining me with this journey. It's been absolutely fascinating getting to know some of these communities and sharing some of the work that they do. And if you are interested in starting your very own alleyway, check out the link below, because I have started my very own Facebook group to help you get started and meet other alleyway gardeners. Hopefully I will see you all again soon. Bye!